The following video falls into the category of both mystery and true crime, as they are about emergency alarms or emergency calls from people who, probably in the last hours or moments of their lives, were able to call for help before they were lost, sometimes forever. Some of the calls are downright creepy, so if you don't like that kind of thing, don't watch this video. However, if you do watch it and like the content, please support me by subscribing. Thanks. Kenji Iwamura. In July 1989, two men from Tokyo visited Daisatsuzen National Park in Hokkaido to hike on Mount Asahidaki. During their hike, the men got lost, and when they did not return home on the 24th of July at the planned time, a search operation was launched to find them. They soon spotted a large SOS sign made of birch trunks, 5 meters long per letter, from one of the rescue helicopters, which eventually helped them find the lost hikers about 2 to 3 kilometers north of the sign. The two men were praised by members of the rescue unit for constructing the SOS sign, which embarrassed the men. They said they had not built the sign, nor did they even know it existed. The rescue operation was therefore restarted the next morning, as they feared that someone else or others were trapped on the mountain. After another search of the area, a backpack was found containing a tape recorder and the driver's license of 25-year-old Kenji Iwamura. A man's desperate voice could be heard on the tape recorder. The recording was originally 2 minutes and 17 seconds long, but only this following extract was released. Translated, he said, "SOS, help me, I can't move on the rock. SOS, help, I am where I first saw the helicopter. The Sasa is too deep, I can't climb up. Please pull me up." Sasa is a type of bamboo plant that grows in the area. It was soon discovered that the man had disappeared 5 years earlier, in 1984, and attempts had been made to find him even then. Since Kenji did not check out of the hotel 2 days after he was last seen, the owner called the police, who launched a search team to track him down, but all efforts proved futile. However, after finding the man's backpack, they relaunched the search after 5 years, and this time they had luck. The rescue teams found human bones not far from the SOS sign, which they eventually identified as Kenji's. Investigators were unable to determine the cause of death from his remains, so the investigation was closed. As well as the cause of the man's death being unknown, the wooden SOS sign itself has raised a number of questions. Since the letters were made of cut birch wood, it is unclear how Kenji could have moved them at all. Experts say it took at least 2 days and a huge effort to make. Another mystery is that no axe of any kind was found in the area or around the man's bones, even though the trees were obviously cut down with an axe. The reason for the audio recording is also unknown, but most have speculated that the man recorded the call for help so that search teams would know what had happened to him in case he was too weak to speak when they found him. Others, however, believe that he may have accidentally pressed the record button and that his shouting was accidentally recorded. The recording was shown to the man's parents, but they could not confirm that the voice was indeed their son's. Antoinette Cayadito. 9-year-old Antoinette Cayadito was living with her mother and 2 sisters in Gallup, New Mexico, when she disappeared on the morning of April 5, 1986, and despite a massive investigation, no trace of her remains could be found. With little to go on, the clues quickly went cold, and no progress has been made on the case for a year. But then, the Gallup police station received the following frantic phone call.
Police department. Hello. I'm Antoinette Cayadito. Okay, whereabouts in Albuquerque? Who said he could use a phone? Hello? Antoinette, where are you? Antoinette. Hello?
Unfortunately, the call could not be traced, but after the recording was played back to Anthonette's mother, Penny, she recognized her daughter's voice, but not the adult's. Another 4 years later, in 1991, the girl's then 10-year-old sister, Wendy, spoke for the first time about what happened that night. She said that at dawn, just as it was getting light, there was a knock on the door, and only she and Anthonette were awakened by the noise. It is incomprehensible why the girls did not wake their parents, and why only Anthonette answered the door. But as soon as she did, she was grabbed by two men and crammed into a van which sped away with her. As to why Wendy waited so long to tell the story, she said she was afraid she would upset her mother and that they would not believe her. Also this year, a Carson City waitress reported to police a teenage girl fitting Anthonette's description who was dining in the restaurant with an unkempt-looking couple. The girl repeatedly dropped the cutlery on the floor as the waitress passed by their table, and when she picked it up and handed it back to the girl, she grabbed her hand firmly and squeezed it as if asking for help. After they finally left the restaurant, she found a message for help scribbled on a napkin under her plate, which read, "Help, call the police." That was the last time anyone saw Anthonette, and Penny died in 1999, never to learn the truth about her daughter, who has been missing ever since. Henry McCabe. On September 6, 2015, Henry McCabe's wife and children traveled to Minnesota to visit her family, leaving Henry alone. Henry decided to enjoy some time off with two friends and spent the night at a local nightclub. At 2 a.m., Henry was in no condition to get behind the wheel, so his friends decided to drive him home. On the way, Henry insisted to go to a petrol station to buy food, and then he would walk home. His friends reluctantly agreed, not realizing that this would be the last time anyone would ever see Henry alive. At 2:28 a.m., Henry's wife received a voice message from his phone. Only part of the message was released, but here's a snippet. After hearing the message, Henry's wife called the police in desperation. The investigation revealed that after Henry called his wife, he also called his own brother, who claimed to have heard sobbing on the line before the call was disconnected. Later that evening, Henry's phone pinged once more from a cell tower 4 miles away near Creekview Park, and that was the last signal from his phone. Almost 2 months later, Henry's body was found in a pond not far from the park. His body showed no signs of injury, so his death was recorded as suicide or accidental drowning. He had recently been reprimanded for poor performance at work, and his rent check was bounced, suggesting that he had ended his life by his own hand. But these details do not explain the eerie sounds that could be heard in the voicemail message that night. Well, that's all for today's video. But as there are still some creepy and thought-provoking emergency calls left, I'll be back with more soon. If you liked the video, like it, leave a supportive comment to help the algorithm, subscribe to my channel for more interesting and mysterious content, and be sure to check back for my previous videos. Thank you very much for your kind attention. I will be back with more content soon.